Hello. I'm a little bit shorter than Tammy, but I'm going to assume that you can still see me so that I don't have to feel like an idiot up there. Thanks very much for having me today. It's great to be here to talk to you. I'm going to talk, my topic for today is distribution, and I'm going to talk particularly about some of the work that we're doing in distribution and with the Open Food Network. I'll pick up on some of Tammy's themes, like, you know, how on earth did I end up here as a public servant / pseudo-academic who's now, I'm not sure what you'd describe it, kind of a social entrepreneur, open source software developer, wrangler of food hubs thing. Anyway, it's been an exciting kind of journey as we all look for what is actually possible. I won't mention all the partners, there they are. I think Basil said partners are absolutely critical and nothing happens without lots of people working together and looking for how we combine forces. I can see that there's heaps of stuff going on in Hume already, which is awesome. And a lot of the work that we're doing is really looking at how do we leverage and support and scale up and make it easy for people to replicate and adapt successful models. So what's the problem with distribution? Well, I think it's probably been described a little bit. You know, farmers aren't making money from their produce and people aren't able to get access to affordable, fresh, high quality food. We have a fundamental belief that farmers should be paid a fair price to earn a good living for sustainable farming, and that everyone should be able to access high quality, fresh produce. So that's what we're looking at. How do we design distribution systems that let that happen? And in a nutshell, we would say the reason that's not happening at the moment is because we have too much concentration of power, which leads to very big farmers being able to sell to the two major supermarkets and everyone else not having enough purchasing power or selling power to actually dictate prices. So what we're saying is, in response to Tammy, it's a kind of yes and. Absolutely, for farmers who can own their whole supply chain and deal directly with customers, that's fantastic. And for some farmers, that's not the best option, or that's not enough for what they're doing. So we're really looking at, okay, well, what kind of ethical middlemen do we need that can actually then enable us to have effective and streamlined distribution systems? But we're absolutely committed to transparency and openness in those supply chains. So we're looking for ethically, locally owned co-ops, food hubs, local businesses, all of those sorts of things, working with local farmers to provide food to communities in ways that work for those communities, and being transparent about what those farmers are getting paid, letting the farmers explain their own production practices and making sure people know what they are. So we're looking for lots of middlemen. And I should say on that, farmers can also be middlemen. So I would almost argue that some of what Tammy's doing is she is a farmer, she's handling her own distribution, but she's also working through a kind of micro hubs where she leaves her food in places that the communities can actually access it once they've bought it from her. She's not driving around and delivering to every door. So it's about thinking about some of these ways that we can actually improve food access in ways that are smart. So those middlemen, I've talked about that. It's all sorts of things. We're increasingly using the word food hubs to mean something that operates to make local food accessible to the community. And that can take all sorts of forms. It can be one farmer or many farmers. I'll talk a little bit about the Southeast Food Hub, because this is one of our first experiments that's starting to come good. I think somebody mentioned before, I have to speed up a bit. Somebody mentioned before about 90% of Australia's asparagus grown in Kuirup in Cardinia. How easy do you think it is to get that asparagus if you live in Kuirup in Cardinia? So a bit of the big problem that we identified in the southeast, where so much of Victoria's fruit and veg is grown, is that the communities can't access it. They're still reliant on Coles and Woolworths, if it's even there yet. So the Southeast Food Hub is about trying to connect producers and consumers in the southeast. So we've been working on this project for a couple of years. We've got trials operating. We've got about 8 to 10 farmers. We do a weekly order cycle at the moment. Those farmers let us know what's going on. We use the Open Food Network to keep track of all of the inventory, etc. We place offers online. Those offers are increasingly, some of them are going into restaurants and into local businesses, but we're also setting up buying groups in community centres and access points where people are really keen to get what is effectively wholesale priced, in some cases organic, in some cases conventional food, into those community centres. We then provide a consolidated order to the farmers, so they're just bringing one lot of food. We're working with a social enterprise in Dandenong called Avocare, who do employment and training programs, so they have warehouse training, forklifts, cool rooms, all of that kind of thing. So we then pack the food in there, and we have a local partner Sheffield's, Providore, who have refrigerated distribution vans that go out all over the city, as well as doing some of our own distribution. So we're just at the end of pilot phase, and we're really trying to work out how to actually keep that going at the moment. Very quickly, I'll just talk about Open Food Network. Open Food Network is an online marketplace that makes it easy to find, buy, sell and move local food. What we're trying to do is reduce the transaction costs and administrative headache of operating these co-ops and box schemes and food hubs and all of these things that happen, and make it easier to connect with, to find and to buy from local farmers. The model I just described would be a couple of farmers going into a hub, going out to a lot of other hubs. Could also be a bunch of farmers going through a single hub like a co-op, or a farmer like Tammy managing their own distribution to a bunch of different collection points. This is what it looks like to the customer. We've got trials live at the moment. You come on, you look at your area or the farmer or the food hub that you're looking for, you go through and you shop. You'll notice there's more data in the southeast than anywhere else because that's where we're working. We've got a whole bunch of partners excited about what we're doing with this software, including people picking it up and using it overseas, because it's all open source. We're open source and non-for-profit, trying to build software that will support the fair food movement. Skip that one, said that. We are, speaking of crowdfunding, slightly less tangible than you can have your bacon and your pork, but we are currently crowdfunding to get this infrastructure built so that we can launch it and make it available to producers and food hubs all across Australia. We've got about 4 weeks left to go. We've raised $12,500, which is halfway to our tipping point so far. So by all means, do not hesitate to go and contribute. And we're particularly looking for the producers, the hubs, either existing or potential, and the local councils who would like to work with us on innovative trials to get those up and running quickly. And I can talk more about that after this. That's one of our little taglines, breakout with your supermarket. David, am I allowed 1 more minute for the video or am I not? You can choose. That's